Welcome, everybody, to this new episode of CCIR Student Spotlight. With me today is William Xu, a 16-year-old rising junior at the Harriton High School in Pennsylvania. During his time at CCIR, William took a course on machine learning and image processing with Dr. Rabel of the University of Cambridge. And for his project, ultimately, William worked on a research project related to computer vision and self-driving cars. Today, William will be talking to us a little bit about his experience at CCIR and the project that he embarked on during his time here. So first things first, William, I want to say welcome to the podcast.
Thanks.
So William, let's maybe kick things off by talking a little bit about how you first came to CCIR. So as you were sort of looking around for different courses and different opportunities, what in particular attracted you to CCIR and to the machine learning and image processing course that's being offered by Rabel?
So I was first introduced to the CCIR by my counselor. And while it also sounds really cool. And I was just interested and check out the website. And I was amazed by how many courses there are, and they all sound really interesting. So I remember like at the start of like the application process, you can like pick like your first choice, second choice, the third choice, or something like that. Machine learning and computer vision is actually not my first choice. But I mean, the way I pick my choices, well, first of all, like I just think they're all like really useful. Like no matter what I pick, it's probably gonna benefit me a lot. First of all, of course, interest is a part of the equation, but mostly it's like I would imagine myself like just trying to do the course, like trying to solve a problem that might be related to the course and see what that's like. And and I'll just pick the top three that sounds the most fun. But it's still I like machine learning and AI because it's really useful. AI is taking over the world, as some people say. So yeah, I'm not like that. I'm happy that I picked the course. It got me into a course. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background interests in CCIR already, with some sense of some background knowledge of computer science and machine learning.
In my sophomore year, I took a intro to computer science class. That is not my first time coding. The first time is actually, I think, last summer when I took this like software design class, but it was really confusing. That's like the first time I've been introduced to code, and I think the language was PHP, and I think we're supposed to make like a fake Facebook kind of thing, and it was confusing, but I did understand the course. So yeah, that really got me into coding and made me realize how interesting coding can be, and like how many things coding can do. And then I got enrolled into an intro to computer science course in my sophomore year. Yeah, and the most benefit of that is that I got to learn some more languages like Python and Java, which have helped me a lot, like both in this program and also like in some other programs that I've attended. So yeah, that's kind of, it's not like I'm not like one of those people that have been learning like coding since I was like 5, but it was definitely interesting, and I would want to like code more.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about let's say the transition between your previous coding experiences and the course at CCIR, because one of the things that I would say makes us a little bit distinctive and something we're quite proud of is how rigorous and intensive these courses are intended to be. So tell me about that experience and sort of maybe first what the major differences you found were and how you eventually came to manage those differences.
All right. So in my in the intro computer science class, it's mostly like really basic stuff. Like I don't know. I can't give any. Maybe like print something or print like this thing plus that thing, or find the area of a rectangle given its like size and given its like lengths and sides. So like the code is like, it's really simple to understand. It's just like 1 + 2 sides times width equals area. But like when I got into this course, the huge change was that like now because like we're doing machine learning and stuff, because it's just so complicated, like we have to import a lot of stuff, and sometimes the code becomes really confusing because you don't know like what you're importing, and like you're just kind of importing. Yeah, so it's a little hard to like read the code. So I think that's the biggest challenge and change that I've faced starting this program. And then one way I started to like get used to it is just by, well, first of all, telling myself that you don't have to like know everything, because I get really uncomfortable when I like when I'm like given something and I have no idea what it's about and I'm just asked to use it. So I'm just trying to get that like a discomfort like out of my head. And then also, yeah, just trying to like Google it up, go onto the website of like the libraries and try to understand like the functions that they provide for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, and maybe at this point, tell me a little bit about how you eventually came to home in on your particular project. Because as you know, the way that the CCIR program works is that first you're sort of taking general classes within machine learning and computer vision, and it's only through that process that you begin gradually refining your interest in your project. So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so at the start, as you said, like it's just teaching you about the basic stuff, like what is a neural network, what is a convolutional neural network, how the math works. Uh, and then yeah, one day I think Dr. Robey just said, "Wow, now you got to pick a project," and then yeah, they gave us a lot of examples, and auto driving really stood out because it's just really cool. I mean, I don't know how to explain it better. It's just, like when you have like a list of stuff, some of them do not look that fun. Some of them look okay, and always a few that is like, oh yeah, I got to do this, and
Mhm.
like auto driving is one of those. It really like compared to some other ones, like you feel like you're actually like building something that's like thinking, because some other ones like they're cool by itself, but like they're more like, oh, identifying like medical images or like determining if there's a guy standing there, which is, oh wait, that's kind of what auto driving is. But like when you think of like auto driving, you just think of like a car kind of thinking by itself, which sounds really cool.
Mhm. So tell me a little bit more about your project. What exactly did you work on within this space of computer vision and self-driving cars?
So the main purpose of my project is, okay, so I think in order to explain my project, I first have to explain what is like how like a neural network can be incorporated into self-driving. So pretty much we're doing this thing called semantic segmentation. And what it does is that from like a camera image of the road, it like categorizes the pixels into like car, road, or sky, traffic light and stuff. So like the machine knows which parts are like the road, which parts are the car, and then from then on like it can try to like stay on the road, like don't crash into someone, and then if the light is green, go or something like that. So there's actually a lot of networks that have already that are like this, but like I don't think any of them have been used in like a self-driving database. So I'm trying to like find out which network is the best at like semantically segmenting like road images. Uh, and also like if time allowed, I maybe I can also make some changes to the best model, you can say, and then try to make it even better to like semantically segment the road images. I did not get to the second part, but so I mostly just did the first part, like evaluating the models.
Hmm. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with your experience of working with Dr. Rebel. Um, what was that like? And how did he and your TA support you in particular as you transitioned into the research phase?
Dr. Rabil was both Dr. Rabil and Dr. Premi are really funny in class. So like it will like really lighten the mood up, because usually like mostly in class we just code, right? And there's also like, because like it's a little chaotic because there's a lot of us and like everyone is doing a different thing. So like it is, yeah, it is a little chaotic, but like they're like sometimes they make funny jokes and stuff, and it really lightens the mood up. Uh,
Hmm.
and especially for Dr. Robert, I think he is really like he responds to email really quick and just like insanely quick. I think like you get the feeling that he's just staring at the screen waiting for an email to come up. Like it is that quick, which is really helpful. And also, yeah, they also help me a lot in just like finding out issues. Like if I have no idea what's going on, I can just send them the code. And especially Dr. Premier, because he's like really good with the code. Like he can often just find something, find the issue, and then tell me how to solve it. If I can't figure it out myself.
Mm.
And it's also nice that like they don't just like tell you everything, like do this, do this, do this. Like they also give you like the space to like think, oh, what is wrong with this? What is wrong with that? And if I can't figure it out, like I have to ask them for help then.
Mm. And I'm curious how this experience of working on a much more difficult project than you previously have has changed your perception of the field of computer science and maybe change your perception of, let's say, AI and machine learning in particular.
So yeah, before this, I've watched a lot of movies where the robots are taking over the world, like Matrix and Terminator. So I was really scared, especially since like I saw like just like AI like talking, being mad at humans, having emotions. And so yeah, but after this course, I don't because like this course is like really digging deep into like the mass of it. And so it made like AI less of like a sentient being than just like a bunch of like mass functions, 1 + 1 = 2. So
Mhm.
it really meant like yeah, that fear disappeared. And I think that maybe the AI can still take over the world, but it made it like I'm not like that afraid of it anymore, considering that like it's just like mass functions after function after function. It
Mhm.
made it like like before, like I think like before people are scared of like robots being taking over the world. It's mostly due to like the fear of the unknown, because I don't think most people know what the AI is. I mean I guess most like researchers also are confused sometimes by like what it's doing. But you know,
Mhm.
like when you're like at least like that like it's just like a bunch of functions, input to output, and then that output turn into an input and then produce another output. So that made AI sound a lot less scary and a lot less like a human being, more than just like a computer.
Mhm. I wonder, has it in any way not only, let's say, defeated one of your existing fears, has it maybe generated new fears for you?
Uh, I guess fear of coding.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because like I'm just getting into like more like advanced stuff and it's getting harder and harder.
Mhm. Yeah, well, the good news there is you are only 16, William. So you,
That's definitely good news.
yeah, you have plenty of time to learn stuff ahead of you. Um, Fantastic. So one thing I'm very curious about, especially in these sorts of settings, is routinely what I find with CCIR students, something that is to me even a little bit surprising, is how much the peer-to-peer interaction within the Future Scholar course, even though it's an online program, actually ends up shaping the entire experience of the course. So tell me what it was like working with other students who were doing their own projects, who were also, like you, a high school student who is suddenly thrown into the deep end because they want to be there. So tell me a little bit about that experience.
At the start, I was terrified by them because like they got in, they're probably really smart. And then they probably are really smart. And then well, as class goes on, we get to know each other better and like become more familiar with each other's faces, and they become less scary. And then well, during the research project, we didn't like really talked a lot because everyone's just doing their own thing. But like in like the meetings, we like people like we can always hear each other talking, so we can like always like hear like how their project is going. And also like sometimes like when they encounter some errors, like we can also the others can like also learn from their errors. And that is sometimes they yeah, but just by that, like they help me a lot on my project as well. Yeah, the interactions are mostly in the first part of the program where we're like teaching the basic stuff. But then once we get into the research, it's more of just like everyone work on their own thing. Kind of.
Cool. Okay, fantastic. So as we sort of gradually come towards the end of this interview, I'm going to ask you a question that you might have already heard because you've watched some of these interviews. It's the question I always end these interviews with, and the question is this. Having been through the grueling experience of CCIR, hopefully having also learned a whole bunch and had a great experience and interacted with some fun faculty members, what would you now say to a student who's maybe just coming into the program or considering the program, but is a little bit daunted by the prospects of working with really, really smart kids and working with really, really smart professors and doing a really, really difficult research project? What would you say to someone who has these sorts of reservations?
I guess, well, I mean, like if like usually like when you get into when like if you're able to like get into the program, you're probably just as smart as them, if not smarter. So I don't think like they have to be scared of like being not smart enough. But one thing I have to say, like because like what like this is like a very rigorous research project. I'm like so like I think you definitely need to like do a lot of work. It cannot be just like a background thing where like you check on it like every weekend. But I would also say that don't put in like too much work. Try to work smarter, not harder. I think that's like a big mistake that I made at the start. I was like working every day on like the network, and turns out like there's a lot more simple ways to solve my issues.
Yeah, that's really fantastic advice. It's great to hear that you were working hard as well. And then not only were you working hard, you figured out how to also work smart. So that's fantastic. Well, with that, William, I just want to say it's been fantastic learning about your experience at CCIR. Really great hearing about your project as well. And so just to wrap up, I want to say, William, best of luck in all your future academic and intellectual adventures. And thank you so much for joining us on this podcast today.
Thank you.